The Gillum Collegiate Academy is an early college high school. And an early college high school is specifically designed for first generation underserved students. So students whose parents do not have a college education and students who have traditionally been underserved and underrepresented in higher ed. When you walk into the building, the first thing that anybody sees is a college. This does not look like a high school at all.
I feel like the school helps me achieve in many ways because they're a great staff and the building is just fits us all.
All of the things that we came up with and said that would be needed are elements that are in the design of the building. So for example, we know that we needed extensive supports for our 9th and 10th grade and less extensive supports and monitoring for the 11th and 12th graders. So in the design, the 2 grade levels, 9th and 10th, that need the most support are separated from the 11th and 12th in the facility. We knew that we needed a place for students to access support, and so hence we have the perch.
As I think of all the spaces that I think are most successful is really that common plaza. We treated it twofold. One is it's a place where dining happens, but because flexibility is so important for the kind of teaching and learning that's happening, the dining area is also a large collaborative space.
The academic program is very different, and then the school was designed around the academic program. So the design of the school is completely different than what you would see in the traditional high school. So the feedback is, wow, this is custom made for us as adults to do what we need to do, and custom made for the students who so deserve an environment such as this.
What makes me feel empowered to continue on to college is just my will to keep studying and to be someone successful in the future and to show my family that we can do it and we can succeed in this world.
Today we find ourselves on the back end of a natural disaster that wrought more chaos and havoc than we've ever seen before in our lives. It may seem chaotic until we get all our buildings rebuilt and restored, and you may find classes meeting locations you hadn't expected, but we will have school on August 17th.
The first thing we wanted to do was make sure that all of our students and our faculty members and staff members were well. The next thing was trying to figure out what we were going to do to have school.
As a district, we had been dreaming about how learning needed to change, especially at the high school level. And we'd been looking at 21st century learning and the kinds of things that goes along with it, but we weren't exactly sure how we were going to get there with our old building.
Kids just learn differently than they used to. Relating everything to real world, the kids can relate better to whatever we're doing with the project.
My favorite part of Job One High School is the coffee bar. It's part of the marketing and business class. The students will run the coffee bar as part of their classroom, and they're going to learn how business operates, which I think is a great component of how versatile our school is and how they're going to really use it, a hands-on approach to learn how a business runs. We're going to have places where students can sit and socialize and sell t-shirts right around the corner, and it'll just be a great atmosphere.
The favorite part of Joplin High School to me is the student think tanks. I love the space and the opportunity the kids will have to use them in any way they want. I think the think tank itself is a place that you can come and be quiet, or you can be loud. It can be a group activity, or it can be individual.
My favorite part of Joplin High School is the IT support space. Every student here at Joplin is going to have a laptop computer instead of carrying books all around the high school, and this is a place where they're going to be able to support one another or get support with whatever issue they're having. This project was rewarding for me because it feels like the students are going to be able to get back to their normal environment in their school, more of a learning environment, and be able to come here every day excited to learn. I wish I could come to school here and learn every day.
One of my favorite parts of the project had to be some of the social spaces, I think, in the design. These info links, some of the corridor spaces, a few of the interactive areas, I think, in the building that start to create triangulation with students and teachers, and creating these flexible learning areas that I think were a big asset to the design. Obviously, with the limited amount of square footage, we were really challenged to try to utilize every square inch of the project, and I think these were the spaces that really made it a success.
Every space was used for education. Info links that we created where kids could come together. We wanted to challenge ourselves to create spaces that kids could really connect to. So you'll see different kinds of glass being used, lots of color. You'll see vinyl wall coloring that creates a sense of pride within this facility. Students told us a lot about what's called Eagle Alley. We tried to replicate some of those things that they were very close to and sensitive to that were in their old high school, and tried to create them in a symbolic gesture in this school as well. All the furniture is on casters. It all moves. They can reorient it. They can modify it. Walls open up. They swivel. You can write on the walls. And we're really trying to give an opportunity for students and teachers to collaborate with one another and be as innovative as they possibly can.
From the first day that we opened the school and the open houses and the astonishment on the kids' faces and thinking about what they wouldn't have and then finding what was a reality to have in our school was amazing to see their expressions. No, it's not the school that they came from, but it is a different school, and it's given us an opportunity along with them to try new things. There's no question that the design of this building is helping in large part some of the design concepts of our new building.
Our goal when we started this school essentially was to try to create a place where when you walked into it, you couldn't tell whether it was a technical school or a college prep school. There are three axioms of public education in this country, particularly in high schools, and they are that you separate students from each other based on their perceived academic ability, you separate hands from minds, and you separate school from the world beyond. And we try to integrate those three things. We integrate students, we integrate the subjects, particularly technical and academic pursuits, and we try to integrate with the world beyond school as well. Let's see them line up.
It takes about 6 weeks to build the robot. We don't just build the robot, we also compete as far as competition goes. Everything that we do, we put it all into a document and we stand in front of the judges and say, look at us, this is what we do, this is, you know, these are our achievements, and we kind of like try and say, you know, like we're the best, and this is, we want you to recognize that. We've had a 1,000% increase in girls this year, which was really cool. It's a really enjoyable thing, and it's great because it involves us in the community as well.
These 21st century skills, these kind of employability skills, were really college prep skills as well. If we were able to pull together a program where we were asking kids to work in teams, to ask good questions, to consider multiple perspectives in the work that they're doing, ask how things are connected, take big picture views and so forth, that we would be preparing them both for college and for careers.
If you want it wider, you divide X by, so like 10.
Ooh, that's perfect. I found this image by Basquiat that I really liked, so then I kind of broke it down into all possible math, which I pretty much just isolated parabolas and cylinders. So then I wrote like a page of notes about it and then projected it on and made 2 different compositions of my notes and then made the background. So I'm trying to emulate Basquiat, but also incorporating a bunch of math.
I think the culture of High Tech High in general, not just our school, but the whole village, is a very hands-on approach. Collaboration is a big key element to a successful project, in my opinion. I think they're going to get a deeper, more meaningful understanding of the subject as a whole, as opposed to one tiny piece of it. And so it's really neat that I can go to any of these kids and talk about ancient Egyptian engineering. I could talk to them about their daily life. I can talk to them about the architecture of pyramids and obelisks, and talk about volume and surface area, and talk about gods and goddesses, and every single one of them would know all about it.
Yeah, it'll work once we have our turning room.
My first year here, I should say, was like my first year teaching all over again, and it was a big learning experience, very big. I needed a lot of support, a lot of help, as do pretty much every new teacher here. But through the years, you just kind of get used to how to structure projects, how to give clear-cut expectations to the kids to get the best outcome you can get.
A lot of it is about building a common culture of learning and questioning and feeling comfortable kind of articulating your observations and analysis.
So what if we did 7?
Yeah.
No, 6.
No, because 5 and a half is right there.
Go with 6. And then the wheels can be that much.
Okay.
Let's do 6 because we can always cut away. Okay, 6.
6 it is. Okay. The assignment of the project is to create a toy, and we're going to donate them to an orphanage down in Mexico.
We started out with a blueprint, and it has to have 1 input and for our group 5 outputs. So some of those things are the ladder moving up and down. We have the fireman. He's gonna be hanging off the side.
I think it's always a critical thinking exercise when you have to start from scratch, when you're building something from nothing. You create your ideas and then see the flaws with those ideas, refine them, and develop them out, just like you would do in the real world. So there's a lot of troubleshooting and questions that you have to ask, like what's causing this to fail, or why isn't this fitting together right, or how come these didn't work the way I thought they would work. And so that really forces you into that critical thinking mindset. We definitely work in teams of 2. Each student is responsible for creating similar things, so one student doesn't do all the work. They both have to do sketches, they both have to have individual parts that they're responsible for. And so we try and create a collaborative environment by doing that. At the end, we have a reflection and a share out, so everybody can kind of say what they've learned and where they've grown and what they didn't know before.
It just blows me away every day to see the kinds of interactions that you see between adults and kids here. You see very little behavior management going on the part of adults. It's all conversation about what happened last week, or about this assignment, or about the project we're doing. That's what's really distinctive about the place, as far as I'm concerned, is the quality of relationships. It's really all about relationships and the kind of interactions that you see amongst adults and kids here.
When I first found out we were getting a brand new school, I was overwhelmed. I didn't know that I would be going here yet, but I knew that it was going to bring a lot of change. And when I first saw the new campus, I was so surprised about how nice it was.
It's awesome. It doesn't look like a school. It's very collegiate and, cool, new, really hip, and I love it.
When people walk into the building, they say things like,
wow, what a great place to learn. I wish I had had that opportunity to go to a school like this. This really invites you in to be part of the learning process, and it's created a new way of being for Marysville.
This project was pretty unique, particularly for our public school. The district had actually developed an educational vision well before the architect got involved. It was a whole new way of educating and learning, and we, from an architectural side, wanted to make sure that that was expressed the minute students stepped on campus. Each school is seen as an integrated suite of spaces. It's to foster relationships and collaboration. We wanted every single space to be a learning space and or a gathering space, so there are no corridors. As soon as you step into the buildings, you see learning happening.
When you're in your own SLC, you have everything that you need right there. The way that it was open made it feel very united. You could look across the room and find your teacher that you needed to find, and you never felt alone.
Each of the learning communities have gathering areas where that entire school can get together as one group, so that there is a fostering of community, and that spills outside. The focal point of this campus is the forest, and we went to great extremes in how we set the buildings to minimize the amount of grading so that we could actually save as much of the second growth forest on this site as possible.
During my sophomore year, I had talked to a couple of the architects, but they really wanted to hear what I had to say. Now touring the campus, I saw a couple things and I was like, oh, that was my idea, that's so cool. I could say, I helped design that building. There's a little piece of me in all of these buildings.
The most amazing thing about this project, I think, is the scope of transformation. To see where this district was and the school that these kids were coming from.
We went from a 50% graduation rate to a 57% graduation rate to a 77% graduation rate and an 89% extended graduation rate district-wide.
My performance got way better once I switched to an SLC, and it definitely changed my path. It made me realize that I can do things I didn't know I could do before, and it was a lot different than any other school that I've been to.
Rather than trying to predict the future and optimize for what you're sure the future is going to be, you design a facility that works well for a variety of different futures, including ones that you don't know about. And that's how we ended up with this layout.
When you walk into our building, it's got a wow factor, but it's also got a community factor. Students wanted a sense of community, to have a place where they could see each other and be seen. So the Agora serves as the center of the school. Around the Agora are our career and technical education, special elective environments. So it is a marketplace of ideas, and that goes back to the ancient Greek term.
I like it. I feel we can make more traditions now, we can do more things with the space, and we can come together more often.
The old school was really disconnected. I like this school because there's 4 different sections and it's really clear. Everything's really organized.
It's like a breath of fresh air compared to the old school.
I used to get headaches. I used to teach with the lights off if there was enough natural light. Now that's all automated.
We set out to exceed the Washington State Energy Code, which is a high standard, by 50%, and we actually did it. We tried to coordinate the daylighting with the placement of the lights. As more daylight comes in, these banks of lights actually dim down. We have light wells at the back and skylights in the upper floors. We did passive ventilation system optimized so that we were going to have adequate ventilation, plenty of fresh air, good temperature control, and use the least amount of energy possible in heating the air and moving it around.
The feeling was to enhance as much of the outside experience into the building as possible. The ventilation, the natural light, the windows, just enhance that particular community value.
We put a lot of effort into working with the natural environment around us. All of the water off the Agora roof collects to a single gargoyle and then is used to recharge the wetland.
Not only is it appealing to the eye, but we can have biology classes go out and take a look at flora and fauna in the area.
It is a very unique building. They took a quantum leap in being able to reflect the values of the kids in the community in a brick and mortar structure.
In the Edmond School District, we were called a lot of names, but we're a big family here at the school. We are open, we're very diverse, but because of the new school, everyone sees it now. We're the talk.
We were trying to make this an attractive, friendly place for kids and avoid that institutional feel, someplace they'd actually like to be and enjoy being. And when you see the kids in this building, they feel this is their space.
KIH is very different. It puts you in real world scenarios instead of just, like I said, giving you a textbook and stuff. And you are able to work with different people and learn to meet new people instead of just working with the same people over and over again, which is really realistic because in the real world you have to be able to work with new people.
Well, I think it's a lot different because if most people, when you do your work, it's hard to contact your teachers in the other schools you go to. You can't tell them until the next day, but if KIH, you can email your teachers, you can Skype them, you can chat with them on certain websites.
Where instead of having to worry about worksheets or homework and all that stuff, we do projects, and it's cool because in a way it's kind of easier on the student because you do all of it basically at school and you get to work with your own peers to help you with it.
It feels much more like a family than other schools because in other schools you would go and you would sit down and you do your work. But here you go and you sit down with a group of people and you work together on it. Like that's every day. There's the occasional project that you'll do it at regular schools, but here it's all the time.
I like the environment and the diversity. It's a lot different than any other high school you can go to.
I like the mostly trust around this school. How we have to trust each other.
Yeah, okay, so the commons, they're the chairs are really comfortable, so it gives you a nice place to work, and usually it's really quiet because everyone's doing their work because the projects are fun to do. And I say that a lot of people get their work done since we have the computer right in front of us. It's hard to not work. So I like all the people here, and I like our projects.
I like we're all family, and we can count on everybody else. And I like working on computers, and I can ask help for anybody else, from everybody else.
I like the laptops and all the other students from all other schools.
Probably the people. Learning, seeing new people and getting to know people from all around county is amazing. And I know people now from Rockford. I know schools that I didn't even know.
With the primary users of any school being students, getting them involved in the design of a new academic home gives architects plenty of fresh ideas.
It was a chance for everybody to come together as far as people in the community, principals and different teachers and students and people from the Blythewood area to actually talk about a design of the building.
There's so much natural light here because the windows are so big, and everywhere you go there's windows with sunlight.
Among their desires, a facility that supports a quality education program and student excellence, and a school that integrates technology and supports independent thinking.
I feel like I'm in a college or someplace that's really, driven and technological.
These objectives are clearly evident in the new school. Using the natural beauty of the 140-acre site, existing forest and wetlands were largely preserved. Science labs and vocational technology labs are also part of the overall academic area. And it's all connected by a cluster of central community spaces. These include the Media Center and a cyber cafe. Beyond the central community spaces, arts and wellness areas. This includes a 500-seat auditorium, art classrooms, a 2,000-seat gymnasium, and a state-of-the-art fitness center. The end product is a stunning building, one created with a big buy-in from the community it serves.
If you want to get big, we can do that. We have state-of-the-art equipment. It looks like something out of a Gold's Gym commercial, a New Life Fitness. It's definitely worthy of a membership.
Never in my wildest dreams could I have imagined the positive response that this school would have generated throughout the community.
Students can tell you what they want and what they need, and they were very vocal about how they wanted the school to be different than others. We looked at a book called The World is Flat, and we tried to determine what kind of school students needed to be successful in the greater world.
The community was very upfront with telling us that they had high expectations for the facility and how it performed, not only with the instruction and all of the programming, but how it interacted with the community. When you're planning a new project, I think it's very important to bring everyone on board. All the players need to be there, the community, the instructors, the architect, the planners, the ed spec writers.
We came to the school together and it was built for us. We all felt that way.
All of us worked tirelessly in collaboration to achieve this goal, which is magnificent when you see the students enjoying and using it the way that everybody had anticipated.
This idea that we want to prepare kids to be participants in a more global society yielded itself to the design and to the program delivery.
Research has shown that natural lighting really has an effect on student performance, as well as increased ventilation and just a healthy environment.
I feel like I'm learning more, especially with the higher technology.
Everything's laid out nice and easy.
Our students, our parents, our business community would say that we met the vision and that we're very pleased with the outcome of this school.
Savannah High School exemplifies a very transformational environment. They have made such tremendous gains in terms of transforming a school from top-down, standard-based driven to what do we need to do to ensure our students are prepared for post-secondary experiences. And really, we talk about college and career, really it's career, and offer those 21st century skills, offer those programs that lift up that skill set, ensuring that all students have access and that students really embrace 21st century thinking.
AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination. It is an elective course, but the focus of it is taking the student in the middle. It takes these quote-unquote average kids and transforms them into college-bound kids. These are kids who might have never thought about going to college, the students who usually don't have the support at home, that don't have other support systems to get them not only through the college process, but through school and through life.
The components of AVID include reading and writing strategies to help teach the students to be successful in college and those strategies that carry over into college. They also have tutorials where they are able to learn how to use the inquiry process to solve problems and be able to work through problems on their own.
In AVID, we have tutorial groups, and they base you together based on your subjects. With other students helping you solve your problem, it actually helps more than you would think, because you would think that people just tell you what to do, but no, we don't just tell them, do this problem next, do this step next. We ask them questions about it to get them to actually think.
Our kids are first generation. They don't have parents who understand the system. They don't have parents who have been through a college process.
The AVID program is helping me get ready for college because I'm having the hands-on help to apply.
Last year we had 5 students get accepted to UCLA from our AVID class. If they didn't have AVID, I don't believe that our students would have those opportunities.
MESA stands for Math, Engineering, Science Achievement. At our school, it takes the form of an engineering class. So what the students are doing in the MESA class is they're really working on a long-term engineering-related project. A lot of the projects are entered in various competitions that are held throughout Southern California.
The most important project for me in the MESA program has been the Solar Cup project, which is where students take 6 months to construct a boat powered by 2-car batteries and solar panels.
Because none of the projects that we do are capable of being completed by one student by themselves. He had to realize how essential it was to work as part of a team and what it meant to be an effective team leader.
MESA has introduced me to the idea of being an engineer, and through the projects that I've been in, I've really developed my ability to communicate, because beforehand I wasn't able to develop ideas that I had and be able to accurately communicate them to other people.
I really want to go to Cal Poly. Eventually, I want to be a human relations specialist.
After high school, I plan on attending MIT to major in electrical and mechanical engineering so that I can then become an engineer.
I've had a long journey. Before Savannah last year, I went to 3 different high schools. If I didn't end up going to school here, I probably wouldn't be going to college. I am planning to go to Chico State, and I want to become a therapist for mentally disabled.
21st century skills to us is be college and career ready. We want them to be investigators, critical thinkers, and inquirers, to ask a lot of questions, as well as being personally and academically accountable. We believe that when they leave Savannah, they're going to be ready for any career, they're going to be ready for college, and they're going to be ready to take on whatever comes before them.